Here with you, we are Giga and Tjasha. This is Giga. This is Tjasha. And this week Slovenia is yet again in lockdown. And actually, our friends, the team is supporting us, remotely. We are here kind of alone with our cameraman, with our trusty cameraman, behind the scenes. Basically, today we are going to do a summary for you. What we're going to do on Kickstarter. I guess we got some questions and we're going to answer them very shortly. And then the next week, we're going to try to get into them a bit more. Like the lore and stuff, we want to get into that a bit deeper. Yeah, we decided to do it next week.
Yeah, you guys asked a lot of great questions, and we decided it would be best to, make a separate seance where we can address all of them.
Yeah. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
Actually, before we continue, we want to say that at the end of the video, we are going to make an announcement. It's a very important announcement, so stick around till the end. Okay. So, today we're going to basically do a Q&A, I guess. And the first question that we received is, how did you guys meet? So basically, you guys, some of you know Aljaž. He is called Nyanmaru on Discord. And basically, Aljaž and our cameraman, Patrick, who's behind the camera, basically the three of them met in elementary school and then they were together in high school. And well, as far as I know, they were geeks, right?
Yeah, I mean, we mostly started playing together board games. We played computer, mainly strategy games together. Later on, especially Aljaž and I, we went deep into Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering, which continued all the way to the high school, even to the competitive level. And yeah, this is basically how we got ourselves into the gaming, I guess.
Yeah, and then I guess we met in college. Basically, we were studying East Asian studies. We were kind of Japanologists, and we got along very well. We saw that we both like different cultures, not just Japanese, and also different mythologies like ancient Egypt, stuff like that. And basically, we became friends. And then Giga kind of told me about, his close friends. We all got together. We all had fun, around the table and stuff. We are all gamers, basically. So we played a lot together.
Yeah, but even before that, basically, Tjasha's brother, he is the one who got her into gaming because she started playing MMORPGs very early on, especially things like Aeon.
Yeah, and then I actually got them into playing MMORPGs with me.
Yeah.
And then basically throughout college, I noticed that Giga was always drawing. Like he had this thing. Like this is one of the more recent ones. It's like he drew a lot, and I was super interested in this. And then we kind of figured out that we were, all really into fantasy. We started talking about this world that we were creating in our minds. We were writing down notes, jotting down ideas.
Yeah, basically at some point in a class, I was sketching stuff because that's what I usually do when I listen to lectures.
And he says he concentrates.
Yeah. And one of our friends, basically who collects anime figurines, asked me like, why wouldn't I want to try making them into actual figures, the sketches that I'm making? And at that point we were like, yeah, maybe we should think about something like that.
Yeah, like here we are, we have these awesome miniatures now. And that was, I guess, the beginning.
Yeah.
Like we were sitting together brainstorming
about
ideas.
That was some 5 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. So let's carry on with the next question. Whose idea was it? I guess we can say right away that it was actually Giga's idea from the outright start, because like he was always drawing. We were just, kind of tuning in, trying to help him a bit. And then we were brainstorming, trying to create this world. And basically since college, we were talking about this idea, especially after that friend talked with us and said that we should make our miniatures.
Yeah, at first we weren't sure what exactly we should make and so on, but at that point I was deep into wargaming, and I think the first thing that came to my mind was making our own wargame, which was a long time ago. But about 3 years ago, when Tyash and I were studying in Japan, I started writing rulebook, and that's basically how it all started. And even before that, Aljaž and we tested some games with the rule set that we came up, and it looked, I guess, promising, and we just went on with it.
Yeah. And then I guess that was 3 years ago, and then 1 year ago we were like, we should do this now, and we shouldn't wait with it.
Basically, when the lockdown started and everything closed here in Slovenia, we decided that it's maybe the time, to grab everything and start doing stuff if we want to make this a reality. So I basically attempted to learn how to draw digitally. Tyaša learned all kinds of stuff. She basically became our editor and art director and so on. And a lot of things happened.
Yeah, and that was 1 year ago, and here we are today.
Yeah.
So how did you start with wargaming? So I know that you had some, like a Warhammer collection.
Yeah, basically. I think somewhere in elementary school, our camera guy, Patrick, he brought to school his Warhammer Space Marines, and basically that's where it started. From there on in elementary school, I started collecting Warhammer. Later in high school, I shifted to Infinity and games like that. And I continued with it all the way till now.
Yeah, and then basically I came along, he taught me how to play. We played a lot, and then we made this, and then we're playing this now all the time, so Are you painters is the next question. So, this is a really good one.
Okay.
I think you have it.
Yeah. So yes, we are. I guess, I don't have my older stuff, Warhammer things with me at the moment, but I always have this trusty box filled with a few armies of Infinity. And you could say I was pretty passionate about these kind of things. This could be almost, I don't know, like a review of this bag, but no, it's not.
So
you can see ask questions video, but yes, you can see that I basically have stuff.
It's all painted. I'm sure that you again can't see this, but anyways, they're pretty awesome. And he's really overprotective of them. So
I broke them too many times myself.
And Aljaž broke a lot of them. So actually, that's why we're really trying to make the miniatures, very durable. And it's our goal to, make these able to fall. Our cameraman is showing us something. Okay, he's basically telling us to look at Twitch, I think.
Yeah, just a second.
No, we have to go here. I'm sorry guys, we came unprepared apparently.
Yeah, here you can see some stuff. And
talk more about your hobbies.
These are basically the test prints we got here from our local printer known as Dark Angel on Discord, otherwise known as Dejan. He's very nice, he helped us getting all of this. And you can also see something we haven't shown before.
Oh yeah, I think our cameraman is actually showing you these miniatures that he painted recently. Disclaimer, these are not the finished quality, let's call it like that. They were basically home printed.
They are really good, but we still have to go with another version for the masters. Captain is asking whether I painted this. Yeah, I did. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for all the compliments. Anyways, let's carry on. Here I am looking at my own face and I am not liking it.
With the Twitch delay, which is extra confusing.
It's so confusing,
Never mind that. Okay.
All right. So the next question: how did we design the game? Okay. So, for starters, I guess we wanted to make a game that has kind of an RPG vibe. Sorry, wait a minute. So basically, in RPGs, or let's say MMORPGs that we played a lot together, you have this, your own party that you're like a part of, or, you go around adventuring and stuff. And we all love RPGs, strategy, role-playing games, or just strategy games, even real-time strategies. Giga constantly plays Total War, even now.
Even now, what that's supposed to mean?
Well, yeah. And then we all played Guild Wars. We're still kind of geeking out a bit. Terra, stuff like that. And then, now we're playing Divinity, Original Sin, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to actually incorporate the elements of an MMORPG, where basically you gather up your party and so on. But one thing I wanted to do a bit different is go further into realism. So despite having fantasy elements, it was really important for me that things are coherent, realistic, and so on, because I spent a lot of time studying history, especially warfare and so on, and I really wanted to make this, to reflect that, I guess, to put into the game what,
Yeah, basically connected to the lore, make gameplay connected to that. And basically, when we were creating the setting, we really wanted to make it rich, I guess, in an original sense. Basically, a good basis to expand.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that later a bit. But anyways, the next question is actually a really good one, and kind of hard to put into this video. So we wanted to get into this next week. But anyways, this question is basically describe each faction identity lore in 2 minutes.
Yeah, so basically let's do this fast. Let's start with Empire of Soga. As the lore suggests, basically the dominant kind of species that dominates the Empire is basically humans that came from another realm, because humans are not technically native to Kalad, Rinar, the natives. And basically these humans came from another realm, and this also is reflected in their culture to an extent. But the culture kind of, went through, I don't know if you would call it evolution, but it's changed through time when it was isolated from their own realm, and it basically shaped into something that is basically visually similar to medieval Japan. And one thing that was very important for me when designing this faction was to basically make it really as authentic as possible in a way that it's not different elements from different periods jumbled up together. I really wanted to make something that reflects the kind of late Muromachi Japan, with a few elements incorporated from Heian period and from later Azuchi Momoyama. You can see this especially in the armors, and you can see the Heian period in clothing, for example, the Karigino, that long-sleeved cloak that champion is wearing, for example.
Yeah, and actually, maybe some of you might be wondering this. Why is the Soga, without any magic users? Or why is the magic not really prevalent? Basically, there are magic users in some sense.
We will add those later on, soon, most likely. But they are much rarer than, for example, in other factions.
Yeah.
They are mainly used by things like priests, ritualists, and of course the Kitsune tribes mentioned in the lore.
Well, basically the point is that humans, the human race, I guess, doesn't innately have magical powers.
Okay. We should have to move to the next question.
But I guess so. Let's move on.
Okay, let's move to Sand Kingdoms. The second faction dominated mostly by humans. They also came to this Kalad world from the other realm, but much sooner than the Empire residents. They basically came in the times of darkness as nomads, so the whereabouts, where they come from, and so forth are very much unknown, even to them, because when they got to the abandoned cities in the desert, they basically adopted the culture that was found there, and also adopted the magic from there, and never even intermingled with other races who inhabited those cities. So they are very mysterious, and I would love to tell you more in the later videos. One thing I can say that aesthetics are basically mostly inspired by ancient Arab and Persian aesthetics, with
And
the
Egyptian.
addition, and Egyptian to an extent, of course. But moreover, one of the dominant aesthetics is also, how to put it, late Hellenistic, so from ancient times, but adjusted a bit so that it suits the high medieval setting. So, we're not anymore in the Bronze Age, so we have to change things a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we move to the Rin factions. First we have, I guess, Helrin and later Tenrin. One thing about these two is they once were a single tribe, but they split when the darkness came to the world. One sailed to the south, discovered the settlable land soon. They became the Helrin, the Rin of the Sun, and adopted fire magic. They settled mostly the coast, established their city-states and so forth. You can see that the dominant influence for their design were Greek cities, ancient Greek cities, but were again adjusted to fit the medieval setting more. You could imagine them as being heavily influenced by Byzantine Empire, I guess, but even other fictional cultures as well. Let's quickly move on to Tenrin. The Tenrin are basically your Rin of the Moon. They are much more darker. They got lost in this darkness that I was talking about for much longer than the Helrin were. They were affected by it greatly, made them appreciate life more. And henceforth, they basically, how to put it, started to cherish life more, being more lively.
I guess they became mischievous.
Yeah.
A bit, and also they appreciate the moon. So,
Is it basically, we will talk about this later.
Yeah, I guess later.
But yeah, they are a bit darker, but still, we didn't want to design the game to be all black and white. One of the things we discarded first was good versus evil.
Yeah.
There is no such thing in this game. Like, each faction has something good about them. They all have bad parts, so let's call them gray. Okay, move on.
Yeah, we're just jumping.
Yeah.
So, the next question, really fun. What is your favorite faction?
We haven't enlisted yet.
Yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, anyways. But if I had to say, from the start, I really liked Soga, because Japanology and all of that. But then I really love the Sand Kingdoms and Helion. Because I kind of, also designed them a bit, tried to, help Giga with them a lot.
Let's put it like this. Empire of Soga was actually very easy for us to design.
Yeah, it was.
Because, it was basically making a fantasy version of our textbooks.
Yeah.
But the other factions were a bit more difficult because it's not that easy to make them consistent and, not just bloated with things. Especially the Sand Kingdoms. They were probably the hardest to design, both gameplay-wise and aesthetics. We had the most trouble with them, and it took the longest amount of time. But I think I'm pretty pleased with how they came out.
Yeah, I mean, I just love Azir, on her little carpet. So cool.
I like Tasmany the most.
Yeah, okay, well, But we're not picking favorite, anyways.
Yeah.
So basically how we design the factions, let's talk about that a bit. So, we wanted...
Gameplay-wise.
I mean, also lore-wise.
Oh, lore-wise.
Just a bit, we'll get into that next week. But anyways, basically we wanted to create a living world, that where cultures intermingle, they coexist. It's more fluid, there are no actual rigid boundaries between these factions. Especially Giga was really, careful about this. Like we said, we didn't want to create the world black and white. We actually wanted to make something that was more believable, I guess. Since, I guess, cultures that coexist, if we can call them cultures.
I mean, if we judge by the human history, basically.
Yeah, if we judge by realistic history. They would learn from each other, they trade.
They would adapt to one another.
They would also
If they wouldn't want to be subjugated by another, they would adapt according to them.
It's definitely not the most peaceful of worlds what we created, so, the history was bloody to an extent.
Currently at the moment there is no open war, but this may change in the future. That's one of the things.
That's one of the next questions.
Oh,
So,
just a second.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
Questions, and you are not.
We are
paying
so
attention.
bad at this.
Yes, I'm sorry. We'll get better.
Yeah. So, anyways, the first question was, if you are interested in history, did you try reenactment? Not yet. We haven't. Like.
Oh, I want to.
Do you mean like with actual armor and like swords and stuff? Actually, I guess a little thing about us. We kind of train in archery and martial arts, some Japanese martial arts as well.
Yeah, basically, I first started with martial arts in my elementary
Not
school.
sure if you can see. Wait, let me check on the camera. Yeah, I mean you can see the swords behind us. But anyways, basically.
Don't mind that.
Don't mind that.
Basically, yeah, I started martial arts in elementary school, and later on, especially in Japan, I moved to historical medieval martial arts, and adopted even some very authentic Japanese ones in the way. Not the sport kind, but the actual, you could call them reenactment, I guess. But anyways, we draw a lot of inspiration from that, especially from archery and so on. And yeah, that's been very interesting.
Yeah.
We are considering to join a reenactment group or something one day.
It would be really cool, yeah. I mean, to get some proper chainmail and stuff. So cool. Yeah, from the other realm.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
Yeah.
But we're not giving you more. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we love the idea of elemental creature as well.
I mean, there will be more elemental creatures. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let me just say, these what you see so far are only earth creatures. There are other elements as well. So when the time comes, hopefully we'll be able to show you those as well and release them into the form of miniatures and so on.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of ideas, so yeah. But that's another question.
I agree, it's fun to hit
each other on the head.
Yeah.
We should buy that gear, you know. What's it called?
Which gear?
From Hema, like.
Yeah, the protective gear.
Yeah, like protective gear, and then just bash each other with bokken and stuff.
No,
we
have Kuroshinai for that.
Yeah, we have Kuroshinai. We can do that.
Yeah, leave that out for now.
Yeah. Anyways, what again? Yeah, okay, so the next question was again one of those interesting ones. Describe how each faction plays on the tabletop. General strategy, strengths, weaknesses in 2 minutes.
I will again go in short. I will explain that further. Anyway, so basically we have the Empire of Soga, which are very militant faction. They excel especially at melee combat. And they have very good physical weapons. You can see by them carrying spears and greatswords and stuff like that, which gives them more reach in melee. Each of their models is very survivable on its own. That's one of their strengths. They might not have that many spell shenanigans and so forth, but they are each very resilient and so on. And once they close in, they have a very high chance of defeating their opponent.
Yeah, and they can close in pretty fast, and you should be scared when they do.
Yeah, they also have a lot of armor and so on, so you really want to take them out fast.
I mean, they can pretty much take a bashing, a very good bashing, so yeah.
Okay, quickly move on. The Sand Kingdoms, basically they have very powerful mages. Each is very, each mage is very toolboxy on its own. They have a lot of spells. They combine very nicely, help each other out very well. But for melee combat and so on, and for protection, they mostly rely on their summoned creatures. For now, we have earth creatures, which allow you a lot of resilience, toughness, and survivability. But the other elements may add a lot of variety to that. Some will add more mobility. Some will add, how would you call it, offense, forward presence. So forth. Sand, anyways, is based on magic. They might be the hardest to play because you have to know your spells, but that was the idea. That was
kind of the idea, yeah. We wanted to create a faction that would immerse you, make you feel a bit like an actual mage, I guess, attending one of the academies. I mean,
and knowledge is the strongest weapon of the mages.
Yeah, I mean, basically that's what they rely on. Yeah. So I guess it helps the player, I guess, to know how to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next, the coalition. The coalition of Tenion, in basically a phrase, you would describe them as glass cannon. You want to play them by they are very mobile and very stealthy, as you have noticed.
Fast.
Fast and mobile. And yeah, they can really deal some damage in their turn. But in the end, they're not very survivable, so you want to avoid confrontation. You want to avoid getting hit by the enemy, and so on. But they can really, be terrifying to other faction, especially in mind play when they are camouflaged and are represented by tokens. You don't always have to attack in the first turn. It's often funny when you basically delay a bit and play with your opponent's mind and force them to move, and then you just hop in opportunistically and deal damage. Take out their strongest models and then pick them one by one. Okay, and the last one of the four, the Hellion League. They have the most synergy in the lore. They are the only ones with a professional standing army. The other factions, of course, rely on brawlers, nobility, and part-time farmers to partake in warfare. But Hellion League is actually the one who, in the times of wars with the other realm, decided to make a professional standing army. And all the models you see so far in their model pool are considered to be professionals. That's why they have a lot of soldiers and they have a lot of synergies, and their abilities stack a lot. So basically, they're very strong when they are together. They give each other a lot of utility, a lot of protection and strength. But once their numbers start to dwindle, they also lose their martial ability, their potency, and that's when you can get in and finish them. I guess that would describe them. Also, they're not the best at long-range combat because they don't have any archers, but they really dominate the midfield. They can do a lot of damage, especially, for example, with Hierophant. You can hide her behind the wall and just smite everything that tries to approach it. Yeah, I guess that would be in a nutshell. We'll go into that more deeply later on. Cool.
Okay, so the next one. Following the factions' game mechanics, how do you plan to expand on them?
So...
Wait, did you see?
Just a second, I'm checking the comments if we have... Yeah, Captain, they also have big earth elementals as well. Anyways, how do we want to expand factions? We want to get to add the models that will add them more variety. So something that will basically give you more options. Something that will be in the same ability range as some models you already have, but bring a completely different playstyle to the faction. But we still don't want to give very similar models to every faction, so that we still have a kind of variety across factions. Yeah, flavor and so on. But at the same time, it's not that easy because we really want to keep them balanced. But I think so far, this is going pretty well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you will see a lot of things. You will see also see mercenaries at some point that all factions can recruit, and yeah, that would be fun.
Okay.
Anyways,
so are there concepts for following models? Maybe a Sohe for Empire of Soga?
Yeah, we have a lot planned, especially for stuff like Sohe. You ask so nicely that I will reply. We do intend to add Sohe. For those who don't know what Sohe are, these are basically Japanese warrior monks. In our settings, I can spoil you that they will be artificers, meaning that they can basically enchant themselves with earth and magic, making them much more tough and powerful. But yeah, we will definitely add them.
Yeah, and there are a lot of new concepts. Like we still have a lot in our sleeve.
We still have to do final designs and so on. Yeah, the miniature sculpted. That's not that easy.
And a lot of testing. We also need to do a lot of testing, I guess. I mean, like with every other thing. Do you plan to include a competitive mode and tournaments? If so, what will be the expected point value for a tournament game, and how far is it from the average starting faction?
I can take this one. Yes, we definitely want to make those, if that would be possible. It's all about that. Aliash, Yanmaru, he's basically shivering. As soon as he hears tournaments, he has like an old LCD television that he has stashed somewhere in his basement. He really wants to bring that to
He
tournaments.
always brings it up.
Yeah, so he can track scores on there and so on. I don't know. I don't understand it at all. But anyways, yes, we want to make tournaments.
Definitely.
What will be expected points? This what you see now is basically under 60 points. Honestly, we don't know yet entirely what the format will be. It will all depends what you people like and what you want to expand in and so on.
Yeah, we'll listen to the players.
Yeah, definitely. But what we have in mind, one is 60 points, basically about 3 models. One is 80 points, which will be about 5 models per faction. On the field, I mean, we want to, of course, expand the rooster. And one will be 100 points, which will be about 7 models.
Yeah.
This will be a lot of fun, but the game may take longer, I guess, but not that much, I think. So yeah, something like that. We'll see.
Yeah. So how are you approaching balance in the game when new models are added, etc.? So basically, the idea is when new things will come, we don't want to devalue the old ones. We don't want to make new things, OP. I think like we can see that trend on the internet a bit. And basically, we have bad experience with this, so we definitely want to go away from that, and we want to try to balance the new things basically in regards to the old ones. So we never want to do something like get rid of the starters or ban them, something like that.
Yeah, we want everything to feel balanced so that each player can play their favorite models. Simple as that.
Basically,
we want to spice things a bit up with events and so on that will demand from you a special kind of attention to some things. But the bottom line is that we want to keep the balance. We just want to add more variety, more flavor, and so on, without introducing power creep and so forth.
Okay. So how are you approaching the narrative lore? Is this static, or will you be developing it going forward? Interesting events, wars, named characters, etc.
So yeah, we have much more lore to show still than you can already see. We just have to, package it nicely. We want to show you much more, and in a way, perhaps that you have to puzzle it together a bit. So you have to learn the whole picture from model profiles, from cards, from maybe notice boards and stuff like that we will be making. Yes, we want to give you much more, definitely. And we will be kind of moving the narrative a bit.
Basically, yeah, I guess changing, updating the setting a bit. Don't get me wrong. Basically, the world is going to be progressing, is going to be affecting, I guess, the current setting a bit. And basically, how we're going to do that is make events, or basically like Captain Burke suggested, like wars,
Yeah, not just wars. We want to actually make events that kind of reflect seasons in the setting. For example, if you notice in the lore, every winter at the north of the Empire, Oni start to wake up from their hibernation and attacking settlements. We were thinking that, we could have a special season for that, and players can, kind of compete and so on in the hunt for Oni and so on. Yeah, that's just an idea.
Like a winter holiday and stuff like that.
And there are also mana ruptures in the world. We haven't put much attention to those, but they are very much important for the setting. It's basically one reason why creatures are coming from the void to this realm and so on. So we want to put more highlight on that.
It's basically what's happening right now. So there are these mana ruptures erupting, and there are creatures pulling out of them, and basically the whole world is asking themselves what they should do. Should they close them or not? There's a lot of discourse going around that. And that's basically the current happening.
Yeah, we want to tell you more in the next video, I guess.
Yeah.
Just quickly, let's get into things. Is there anything you want to cut from the game, and you would like to revisit? Yeah, there was a lot of things we want to leave out.
A lot, yeah.
One thing that I really want to include in the game fast are basically mounted models. We want to include mounts and stuff like that.
They were kind of hard to design, gameplay-wise,
if you want to make them realistic.
We do have them figured out already, but we decided to wait after the Kickstarter.
Okay, so what has been the hardest hurdle to deal with? I think that was mainly the technical production aspects of the game. We are still a small team, so there was and is still a lot of work to do in a short time. Otherwise, what was the main problem?
I guess, the current situation, I guess delivery was delayed a lot.
But not really delivery, like sending stuff, but more like getting things to Slovenia.
Prototypes,
Yeah.
That has been a hurdle, I guess. But we managed to get around it, and
it's going pretty nicely.
Actually, one of the hurdles was, just trying to learn new skills to make all of the art, to deliver you all of the visuals and stuff like that.
What do you expect to still be a difficulty? I guess marketing is always a difficulty because we are new to it, I guess, but we will manage that somehow. And to establish after Kickstarter, we want to establish retail and so on. We are working on that, researching it, but that's still kind of difficult for us.
Yeah.
Okay. So last question for now: who is going to China, or are we planning not to? If we have to check the quality and so on, we will definitely go to China. Probably me and Tiasha.
Yeah, I mean, we wanna,
But yeah, let's, I guess, wrap this up for now. Does anyone have questions and so on? We can wait a bit.
Yeah, let's give them a couple of seconds. Come on, type fast.
Kirin Rider for Soga. Yes, I was thinking the same.
Yeah, so many ideas. We have to decide on some though.
And flying carpets for Sand Kingdoms.
Well, we have.
Sounds stupid, but trust me, it will be awesome.
I mean, we already have one.
We already have one, technically, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. So I guess that's it for now.
Okay, now
the last announcement. So what is that? Basically, we finally decided on the date for the Kickstarter, and that is going to be
11th of May.
11th
this year.
Of May. This year, yeah. Not next year.
We'll do a more official announcement, but that's what you get for now.
Yeah, that's what you get. Yeah, that's all. That was the whole hype. Yeah. Okay. That's about it for today, I think.
Yeah, this was like a basics, keeping through stuff.
Yeah.
You asked a lot of great questions. We'll return to them definitely next time.
Yeah, we were like overwhelmed. Like, oh my god, guys, you're too helpful.
Yeah, that was so good. Like, especially the lore. We really want to give it more attention. So yeah, we will be making a dedicated live stream just for that.
Definitely.
And prepare for questions and so on. You can write more of them. We will address them. And you can also hit them at us during the live stream. Just a second, anything? Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. So yeah, I guess that's it for now.
Yeah, I mean, see you guys next week.
See you guys on Discord, see you guys on Facebook and so on, and we meet next time.
Bye.
Everyone, bye-bye.